Hi, my name is Fulton Abraham Sanchez. I am the CPA of the firm Fast CPA Consultants. And today we're going to speak about how crypto investors can profit from unclaimed property rules. There is a case for deposits, accounts from exchanges in crypto that are not claimed, insurance policies. There's also for gift cards and reward programs from retailers that when those accounts are not claimed by the holders, depending on the state, it must be reported as unclaimed property. The time period for that requirement, for the obligation from the retailer, from the bank, from the insurance company, from the exchange, to report that to the state varies, and an average between 3 and 5 years. This means that, depending on the state, this is a very good source of revenue for each of the states. This is a requirement not very well known specifically for exchange, like crypto exchanges that even though they are outside of the US, there is a requirement that I will say in a minute. Now, as a tax principle, we have to remember that crypto is not a currency by itself, like fiat currency. Crypto is property classified for the IRS, it's property. Therefore, the application of this requirement goes in tandem with the classification of the IRS. So, we have to remember that this requirement for reporting unclaimed property is required by the estate. Estates require that each one of these different categories of businesses, banks, retailers, etc., they report to each of the state revenue department these holdings once the account is not known the address of the owner. In addition, with the objective of uniformization of this requirement, there is one act created, and the Revised Uniform Unclaimed Property Act was created with the objective of precisely address this requirement. Now, how an account becomes, specifically for crypto, how an account becomes unclaimed? After a period of time, as I mentioned before, from 3 to 5 years, when the account has not been accessed and the address on the account of the owner is not known, the password has lost, and the account becomes dormant, this is an unclaimed property, specifically for crypto. Now, we all know that the exchanges are not specifically in the US. They could be the crypto exchanges. They could be in Malta, they could be offshore, it could be in Lithuania. But if one of the owners of the exchange is US citizen, then the exchange is required to report this to the state where the US owner resides. This is how the states are very aggressively directing their inspections and supervision for the states. Specifically, this one state, Delaware, is very aggressively pursuing audits for this type of businesses, in addition to exchanges, retailers, insurance, etc. Because it's not only the fact to report this to the state, it's also the revenue that is held in those accounts, in those dormant accounts, must be transferred to the state. So this is a very good source of revenue for the state. In terms of reporting, as I mentioned before, exchanges, crypto exchanges, banks, retailers, and insurance companies, they must report their holdings that has not been claimed by the owner of the property. Therefore, when it becomes unclaimed property, this is, in addition to the classification, in addition to the reporting as unclaimed property, the state will require the actual money. This is in gift cards, and rewards, insurance policies, bank accounts when they are not accessed for 3 to 5 years. Even banks need to report this to the state. Same thing with exchanges. So be very, very specific, very careful whenever there is a US citizen, even in a foreign exchange. If there is a US citizen, then the state is going to require reporting, and the transferring of the money, in this case could be Bitcoin or Ethereum, and this is something that is considered already. This is happening now. Now, specifically, as I mentioned before, Delaware is pursuing very aggressively auditings with those companies that come to the US, open companies in Delaware to profit from the fact that there is no state tax, and they are foreign owners establishing companies in Delaware. Delaware has even hired private auditors to go after these companies that are not reporting accordingly to the revised Uniform Unclaimed Property Act. So this is something very new, specifically with crypto exchanges, but owners of crypto exchanges and investors need to be very much aware that there is a state requirement, and the property that is held in those accounts from the exchange, from the crypto exchange, that has not been accessed after 3 to 5 years, depending on the state, it will need to be reported, and the money will need to be transferred to the state where the U.S. owner resides. Or in this case, if the company is established in Delaware from or by a foreign company or foreign individual, because of the advantage of no state tax, there is a requirement that any information regarding or related to this type of unclaimed property must be reported to the state, and if it is not reported and the money transfer, the state is aggressively pursuing auditing the companies with the objective of get the compliance of this law. If you have more questions, you can also see the rest of the videos that we have here in our video YouTube channel. If you can also subscribe to receive updates whenever we post more videos. And if you have a specific question about this topic, click on the link on the description box and send us an email, FastCPM Consult.